Thank you so much, Dr. Bihan, for taking the time to speak with me today. I really appreciate your time and insights. So now let's begin for a few questions about your experience as a manager. First, can you tell me about a recent important decision you made at work?
Okay, thank you, Ashley. Um, well, one important decision that I have made uh, in the recent weeks is to make our billings for my professions, which is in auditing, to be automated, or I would say partially automated, which previously was fully rely on my team, my people, as and when they got time or they remember, they do the billings. That means they raise the invoice to our customers. But I just feel that it is always too late, or they may have forgotten, and hence I decided to make an automated process. And people may feel not comfortable about it, but I have to enforce this to go through so that it makes things easier for us over the time.
Oh, okay. Well, for the second question is, did you make the decision on your own or involve your team?
No, I will have checked around with my committee member first, my management team, to see whether, if there's such a problem, right? If there's such a problem, then we need to think of a solution to resolve it. If not, to make it lighter, right? And hence, we realize that every month we are chasing people, right, to issue bills, to issue invoice. So we should do something not to chase people that much, right? Because it will affect our work. And hence that is where, I would say everybody agreed we have to come up with a procedure to make this billing process automated.
Okay. Well, how did you decide what was the best option? Did you rely more on data or your own experience?
Well, I must say data is the primary source of information because it's from the data that I know what is the problem. Hence, data is very important. But I must say that accuracy and completeness of data is important for me to make a decision because data is important. It is a source of information that I will get in order for me to measure the situation, to measure the performance. But an inaccurate or incomplete data will cause me more problem. To answer your question, yes, data is important, but it probably have to couple with experience as well to see whether how reliable is the data. I think that's important.
Okay, I understand. Has that always been your approach or it changed over time?
Well, I will say most of the time that is the approach for me. I take data as a source of my knowledge, as a source of my information, and based on my experience, I will analyze it to see whether should I rely on that and should I make a change. So I would say most of the time is the process, is the way I do things.
Okay, thanks for sharing that. And for the fourth question is there any leader or manager you look up to as a role model?
Mm, I must say every leader has their own character, have their own strength and weaknesses. I don't have a particular one leader that is really my role model, but
Okay.
I would like to take every strength and every good points from every leader for me to try to follow. I dare not to say I can do all the good things or the right things at one time, right? Because we are living in an interdependent society. Whatever that I want to do, I must also see how my team members can accept and can work with me as a team, right? So if you ask me, is there one leader that I should follow or as a role model? I don't think there is one particular leader, but it is a lot of good leaders. I take their points, I take their strength, and I try to follow as much as possible in my own life.
Okay, that's insightful. And for the last questions, what advice would you give to someone like me who wants to become a manager in the future?
Well, um, one day when you become a manager, as the word manage, you can't avoid to make decisions on a daily basis. Now, for someone to make a decisions, it is always the fear of making it right or wrong. So you have two choices. You make the decision, or because you are fearful, you don't make a decision. If you don't make a decision, that is worse because things won't change, right? If you make a decisions, there is a likelihood of wrong and there's a likelihood of a right decisions. But you got to make a decisions, use the best knowledge that you have, and you just need to make sure not all your decisions can be right, but you must make sure most of your decisions is right. At least say 70% of the decision is right. Right in the sense that it is for majority of the people around you, may not be for everybody. And that is what a manager is supposed to be. And I'm sure you can be one in the future.
Okay, thank you, Dato, for sharing your valuable experience and insights. I've learned a lot from this conversation. Yeah, that's all for today.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you for the time.